Let's get to the details now. Well, it's been one of the dramatic moments at the vetting so far. Sports Minister designate Isaac Esiama says one of the key areas of attention, if made a substantive minister, will be to push for policies that ensures local inclusion in the players in the national team. A lack of same has been a major point of criticism of Coach Avram Kran's selection of players onto the national team. Answering various questions thrown at him by members of the appointment committee during today's vetting a while ago, the minister-designate said, among others, local content policies will make the local league attractive, an end being sought by many, both in and outside the sports industry. Let's hear him.
Mr. Chairman, our domestic league is suffering. Yes, our league is suffering. And our job, see, we are getting certain fundamentals wrong. We need to develop our league, domestic league. Make sure it becomes attractive. So, going forward, and I'm going to engage the GFA, we must have local content in the selection of players to the national teams of the country. Mr. Chairman,
there are 3 or 4 former ministers here. They want you to explain what you mean by buga buga.
Unlawful and illegal acts to get your way through. That is it.
Mr. Chairman, my last question.
I was entering to this area of the way forward. We did talk about the way forward for GFA. Mr. Chairman, as I did indicate, to make the local league attractive, there are certain conditions that we need to achieve or obtain. Retention of players is important. How do we retain players? Because the leagues will become, or the league will become attractive when we have stars, local stars. The stars will attract people to go to the various stadia. So in so doing, you can reach the local league. But what I've observed is that, look at what happened. We went to AFCON without a single local player. So therefore, all the attention is to play to satisfy the foreign contractor, the foreign investor, so that they are sold outside. They are only playing to please foreigners, not our local consumption. So we must have local content in the selection of players to the national teams. There must be a quota for our local league players so that they can also stay and save for us. That's going forward. I'm going to engage the GFA. So we have that policy in place that whichever coach that comes, you are bound to comply with the local law. That is our law. We are telling that we have 23 players, pick 6 from the local league. That becomes the law.
Minister of Sports designates Isaac Esiama there. Well, he was also subjected to questions bordering on how monies were spent during the just-ended African Cup of Nations games from where the Black Stars came home with nothing. It got a bit heated, but watch for yourself just in case you missed it.
Which budget did your ministry? Which budget did your ministry, which you are representing the president today, approve for AFCON 2017? Which budget? Is it the one which was approved by your predecessor or the one which was reviewed by your transitional team?
No, Chairman, again,
and how much?
It is a golden opportunity for me to explain what we met from the previous government. The documents are here. When we came to power, not even when we came to power, during the transition, first meeting I chaired, or we co-chaired, myself and Honorable Ninante. We asked for budget for AFCON. He told us he was going to bring it. Up to now, he hasn't brought it to the transition team. Mr. Chairman, what I had came from the chief director. So the first one he brought, I made him to sign. It's here. Information copy submitted by the chief director. So 4th January, we are not taking power. 4th January, we are not in power. And this is the budget. This one was $3.9 million for AFCON. And please, the record is here. I've kept all the records, please.
Honorable Zama, You appear to be agitated.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the record is here. I received this one from the Chief Director. The bonus structure is here. For that one, Mr. Chairman, and it's important. Somebody said something that they had slashed it to 8,000. Chairman, what I received, I inherited. 4th of January 2017 is here. Bonus structure, preliminaries, that is the qualification bonus, $10,000 per match. So that is a stage, the qualification stage, that would have meant $30,000 is here. Then quarterfinal, 23 players, $10,000. This document signed by the Chief Director. Semifinals, $12,000. Third place, $12,000. Finals, $15,000 is here. We have the delegation list. Players 23, technical team 10, extra technical team therapists, extra physiotherapists, extra video analyst, physical trainer, officials, GFA, president, management committee, protocol, media officer, ministry stroke deputy minister, chief director, chief accountant or purse holder, parliamentary select committee, here too, scouts, caterers, national security, total 55 delegation. Budgetary summary, pre-tournament $433,015. Tournament phase itself, $3,466,400.
No,
come to the next one. No, please. And here. Please, here.
I told you it got a bit heated there. That is your incoming Minister for Sports, if he is approved. Well, those were the figures that he put out there. But former Minister for Sports, Nilante van der Poel, challenged some of his answers. Now, Nilante van der Poel's position was that much more monies were paid in bonuses, contrary to the figures that were initially presented to the Ghanaian people. Watch this.
I wanted to clear the misconception out in the public domain that I submitted a budget to him which indicated that the Black Stars should be paid $10,000, which is erroneous, which is false. It was not true. I never submitted any budget like that. The GFA proposed the budget and we reviewed the budget, and this is the budget I submitted, the copy here on my phone. This is the total. The total is 3.3. These are the indicators of the budget. Let me even show you, even just look at bonuses. This budget for CAN tournament in Gabon 2017, tournament phase. Look, bonuses, preliminaries, 23 players, $8,000. You seen it? Quarterfinal, 23 players, $8,000. And then let me show you another. Yes. Look, third place, $8,000. Finals, $8,000. This is the budget I left for him at the ministry. So he was lying. And I'm happy that finally he conceded that as of the 10th of January, when that budget was sent to the Chief of Staff, I wasn't the minister. It means that he did not adhere to this budget I left with him and change the budget to the Chief of Staff. So he should accept responsibility that he changed the budget and he indicated $10,000 for the players. 2, he also gave an inaccuracy here, a statement which was not inaccurate. He said that they paid $15,000 as qualification bonus to the players after the preliminary stage. The players won only 2 matches, so why did you pay $15,000? Why did you pay $50,000? There is something they are hiding. The truth of the matter is that they paid the players more than the $5,000 they stated to Ghanaian public. They paid $5,000 to the players as winning bonuses for each match, and they've also paid $15,000 to the players as qualification bonus. So if you put it together, actually the players received $25,000 after the first round, which was more than what we had budgeted for.
And you have the evidence to back that, because
he himself has said it here. He said it here. Either he was confused or he was not speaking the truth. But as far as the budget issue is concerned, this is the evidence. This is the budget I left with him as the head of the transition team that met me. So if a budget was prepared as the 10th of January to the chief of staff, then that was his budget, not my budget.
Okay, but your budget, for example, when it comes to the qualification, at least for the group stages, indicated $8,000.
Yes.
And, well, at least from the initial discussion that had come up from the initial discussion.
From the first match to the final, $8,000. You understand? $8,000 from match 1 to the final.
Not for individual matches, you know, as in $8,000 per match.
I'm saying
that's not
$8,000 per match to the final. It doesn't matter whether you are in final or semi-finals, $8,000. That's the standard bonus for all Black Star matches. That's what we proposed. And then they varied it. They paid $5,000 to them as winning bonus and also paid $15,000 as qualification bonus, which is more than $10,000 per match.
But he maintains they never paid winning bonus.
But he said it here.
Qualification bonus.
And when he was asked, the Blairs played 3 matches. Why did you pay 50 matches?
Because they qualified.
And then he also said that they paid them another $6,000.
Yes.
So what are you saying?
From the knockout stage.
And what was the 12,000 two men for? There was another 12,000. What was meant for?
It was what?
Don't interpret. That's I'm talking about what he said here.
Slash from 12,000 to 6,000. He explained.
Who presented?
He says that the convention had been that
yes,
they are paid 12,000.
Which convention?
That was what he meant.
It is never true. Which convention? I was the minister there before him. So which convention is he talking about?
Well,
which convention is he talking about? When I came, the budget, the bonus they had left was 10,000, and I negotiated and brought it down to 8,000, and that's what I maintained, that's the bonus we should pay to the end of the tournament.
So are you saying he varied it, or the chief director?
But I wasn't the minister as at 10th January.
But he's also producing a document coming from the chief director.
But he's the one who has asserted that if chief director signed document, minister should be held responsible. He asserted here, so he should be held responsible for that budget. That's his budget.
Generally speaking, what do you make of his responses to the questions?
That's what I'm saying. Either he was confused or he was lying.
That's quite harsh.
It's not harsh. But how can you say I gave you a budget stipulating 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 when I have not given you a budget of that? The budget I gave you, that's what I've shown to you.
But did you personally hand over?
I personally handed it over to them at the International Conference Center. I chaired that meeting, the first meeting with him. I handed it over to him.
But if he's lying under oath, what are you going to do about it?
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to pursue this further. I'm going to pursue this further. And in fact, this will have to come. I also have copies of the budget. And I'm going to make sure I submit this to the chairman of the committee. And if he has lied under oath, we'll pursue this.
Just a final bit, so that then the general concern that you have about him either lying or them overpaying the players, do you think probably the GFA should be investigated for that as far as expenditures?
I don't have any issue with the GFA. I don't have any
the sports ministry. I mean,
I'm saying, please. I'm saying that when we met at the transition team, we showed him 2 budgets, the proposal for the GFA and what we have reviewed, and we presented to him what we have reviewed. If during his time, as at the 10th of January, he has been in the ministry for 3 days. If during that time the chief director had sent another budget to the chief of staff, he cannot claim ignorance about that budget. The chief director may have discussed that budget with him, and the chief director may have sent that budget. So it is his budget. So he should tell us that this was the budget he sent to the chief of staff, stipulating 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 from the preliminaries to quarter and to semi-finals. He shouldn't claim that it was our budget we left for him, because the evidence is here. If he presumed that I didn't have the evidence, I have it here on my phone. This is the budget, and I showed it to you before. Exactly. And I've showed you that 8,000 per match up to the end. So he shouldn't lie.
Former Minister of Sports there, Nilante Vanderpoy, obviously enraged about this situation. George Addo Jr. of Joy Sports joined me in the studio so we can subject this matter to a bit of scrutiny, if we can. So I know you've got some fire in you, just like they call you the English fireman, right? Okay, but let's start with your impression on the vetting of Isaac Esiama on the whole.
On the whole, I think it was pretty average. He didn't look like, for me, somebody who's going to be coming in with some deep analysis on how to go about things. Now, let me just make it very simple. I look at some of the blanket answers he gave, I'll call it, what would you do about the Black Stars? What would you do about the Ghana Football Association? And to say that you are going to ensure that the Ghana Football Association goes right under the National Sports Authority. Now, it's something that a lot have said, and that's not going to be just easy to do.
I think to be fair with him, to be fair to him, I would think to be fair to him, George, he says that he's just going to make sure that the structures are available so that the minister sits at the top of the structure.
Yeah, those structures have always been available. And so if you're going to give us that suggestion, you'd have gone deeper if you really thought about this to tell us how you're going to make it work. Because a lot of people have said this. It's been out there. The Ghana Football Association must go directly under the National Sports Authority. So for one, we needed to know exactly how he was going to do it. I don't think we got a feel of somebody who has understood the system and is really going to tactfully do that. Because it's not easy. Because we know in Ghana, football is the passion. And no matter what you do, the Black Stars will have their way, and sometimes it's difficult. I know when we start talking about the money, we'll see how it all goes. There was another question. Most of the questions that he answers, he says, will be all in the Sports Act, which is not yet passed. We have a sports bill that has not yet been passed. So if, for instance, you say you're looking at having a quota system for local players into the Black Stars, now that's great. You're looking at funding, but you hinge all of that on the Sports Act. That is yet to be passed by Parliament. It's a bill yet to be passed by Parliament. You put your hands somewhere. It's going to be very difficult because until Parliament does this, then for us, it means we wait until Parliament makes it an act, until it becomes an act before we can act on all of these things.
Then nothing can be done.
Yes, so for me, the answers, pretty average, yes. The answers didn't give me, the sense that we've got somebody who is looking through this and making it. Maybe he'll end up proving me wrong, but on the surface of things, I think it was just pretty average.
Isn't it a matter of expecting too much?
No, I think we have a very, the terrain is really tight. And you need one with a lot of tact to be able to do this. It's not only about the zeal. A lot of people have shown the zeal. And in the last 3 ministers, we've seen one showing too much zeal, Neelante van der Poel, another not showing so much in Mustafa Ahmed and Ayariga and whatever they wanted to do. So it's not only about coming in and giving us the answers. This just look like, okay, let me put the answers through and go and move away and try to go through it.
Finally,
he can prove me wrong. He can prove me wrong. He may.
Finally on that, what do you say about his temperament? Because one of the things that had made it very difficult for Parliament to approve of one of the ministers has been her temperament. What do you make of her temperament? At a point you realize that he gets very agitated, that it had to take the chairman to say, Honorable nominee, you look a bit agitated.
You have to calm down.
Exactly.
Well, I think he's naturally an emotional person. You can see that even when he's speaking, he's throwing his hands here and there, trying to gesture and all.
And that's perhaps okay for sports ministry?
Not too okay, because you're going to go through a lot. I mean, when you become the sports minister, you're going to go through a lot. The pressures you're going to get from the Football Association, from other sports federations, and from the media, very, very active media, sports media in Ghana. You need to check it, but I don't think it's one that I'll be really get overly worried about. I'm sure he knows what is going to be happening, and he knows that there's a lot of fire going to come on him, so he definitely has to do the job. But I think that he needs to do some more research before he gets to do the job.
That's if he is approved by Parliament. Already Neelante van der Poel is raising issues, and he has vowed to follow the matter to the latter. Now, one of the things that is there confusion, lies, 5,000, 8,000, this confusion, how do you summarize it and make sense out of it for us, George?
First, it's not the first time we're seeing this happen, or we are hearing this, or we've had rumors. Under Ayariga, when he was a sports minister, we had the announcement that the Black Stars, the bonuses were going to be slashed. We also had reports when they went for the competition that all the monies were increased, made it feel like Ghanaians were lied to. That's one. Now, Neelante van der Poel himself, when he took over, he gave us that position that they were going to ensure that monies were cut down. They were not going to be paying too much money. Okay, that was fine. They went through all of that. But you asked Neelante van der Poel what happened with his budget when the Black Stars played against Egypt, the World Cup qualifier. It all of a sudden went back to the $15,000 we're talking about.
Okay, so it was 15,000,
yes,
and then he slashed it to what?
10,000. But against, and even went to 8,000 at a point.
Yes.
But when the Black Stars had to play against Egypt in the World Cup qualifier, it all of a sudden went up there to 15,000 again. And in all of this, it's key to note that something different is said, in the media space for us. So it doesn't come to me as a surprise that this comes up again. That
not to cut you, George, but one of the things that the minister, Neelante van der Poel, the minister designate, Mr. Siama, mentioned was that sometimes these figures in the media domain way before it comes out officially. And so wouldn't be a problem of the media rushing to give information or the media rushing to put out this information there? Isn't that the problem we're looking at here?
I think in this, if it's true, what Neil Ante van der Poel is saying, then Honorable Isiama shot himself in the foot because he came out with the figures. And those figures do not tally with what Neil Ante van der Poel, according to him, left to the transition team. So clearly, we were all under that pretense. Okay, that pretense. Say he had put 8,000 on the budget, and then it moves to we are going to give them what slash 5,000, and then it appears that even much more money we're giving the Black Stars. Now you would understand from a political point of view that because Ghanaians are so involved in the Black Stars, it is almost like a tool, if this is true, that the government will make it look easy on the face that, okay, so we're going down to 5,000. Let's put that in the media so Ghanaians will calm down. And when we get into camp, we do the business. Because as we speak, all the journalists who were there did not see the checks. They don't see the monies go into the bank. We can't be sure. But this is Neil Ante van der Poel's word against Honorable Siama's word. So we'll have to go through this and do the analysis and investigation. But it's nothing new. I'm saying again, it's nothing new.
You're talking
that we've
about
heard that monies are going to be under Ayariga, it happened, and Neil Ante van der Poel himself, it happened, and I won't be surprised if this is also going through it. But let's allow the investigation to go on. But clearly, we find ourselves maybe Ghanaians victim of the circumstance where we are told, oh, we've slashed the money for the Black Stars, and when they get to camp, something different happens, and that's why I'm saying that dealing with sports. It's not as easy as Honorable Isiama was answering the questions, not at all. Because you understand that it's very complex. When you have the zeal, when you've decided that you want to cut the bonus of the Black Stars, they can hold you to ransom when you get into camp. And sometimes you have to change your mind. There were times when ministers had decided that we're giving you this money, take it or leave it. And they get to the airport and they're about to board the plane. The Black Star says, we won't board the plane. At that point, you have to quickly change.
But that has changed, George, hasn't it? Because the Black Stars have begun appreciating the fact that Ghanaians don't take some of these things lightly, which is why we've lost our love for them.
I thought that had changed. Neil Ante van der Poel is just giving us an indication nothing has changed. Because if we all believe that the Black Stars were giving 5,000 and Neil Ante is putting this out there and it turns out to be true, then again, we were told the Black Stars slashed to 5,000 their bonuses, and then when they got into camp, something else happened.
I see.
So you see, that is where the thing is. So let's see how this investigation goes. And I hope it actually gets down to the roots. Because in all of this, they ended up as rumors. We had some from very reliable sources.
And what became of those similar incidents?
Obviously nothing. Because whoever the sports minister is with the government, in power.
And how possible is it that nothing becomes of it and then it just goes away?
So let's see this. This is good. Maybe this will give us an idea of what's happening.
How do you envisage it to end?
I think this... Neil Ante van der Poel would try his best from his position, of course, political position as well, to push this. And let's see what the answers will be from Honorable Isiama. But clearly, it's one figure against the other. And my worry is Ghanaians. Are we being lied to over the time? Have the politicians used the Black Stars to toy with our feelings, just know when to switch it low, switch it high? Because we can go back to the World Cup Commission of Inquiry. What became of the World Cup Commission of Inquiry? It was the Ghanaians were not happy. Oh, let's set up a Commission of Inquiry and let's
would there be any possible sanctions, George, if it so happens that, okay, actually you told the Ghanaian people a lie?
Yeah, what it will mean is that we can't take them serious. We can't
just that?
And the Black Stars would not take them serious. Because if you go out there and you say something and you come to them and it's another thing.
But they took the money. I mean, they took the money if they've been given that money.
The Black Stars will insist on how much they feel they should get based on what is on paper. So they don't have a problem. It is about the sports ministry. That's what I've said. For all the talk we've got, the Ghana Football Association, whatever, it's about the sports ministry deciding to say, I will do this and I'll stick with that and do it. If the sports ministry cannot stay and do what they have to do, if you give out the money, they go. The Ghana Football Association does not give out money, do they? No. The sports ministry always travels with the accountant who will be dishing out the money. Now that it's done through the bank, sports ministry does that. So sports ministry, what happens to you when you tell us you are making it 5,000? What happens to you when you tell us you're making it 8,000? Okay. If it turns out to be something else in camp, you're a laughing stock.
Okay, so we're looking at a situation where there might be a good investigation into this matter, or a foolish case.
Yes, a foolish case.
I see.
Because how can you push this? You go and they'll give you answers and it goes on.
You never know.
You can make it sense.
We've got to adopt the wait and see kind of position. But tell you what, we've always been putting together a bit something that we call the pulse poll, where we ask, especially on Facebook, on social media, what people make of situations, and we make them vote actually. So one of the things that we did was to ask them who they thought was to blame for the Black Stars defeat. Okay. Before we go into that actual, I've already got that chat here right behind you, and the names that we put up were from Grant, the GFA, the players and governments. Now, tell you what has happened with this particular chart is that we continued in the polls and there have been a lot more people voting, and so the figures have changed. I don't seem to be getting the figures quite clearly, but it is obvious that GFA is at the top of the list. So if my producers can open it up a bit, GFA 55%, 55%, and Evram Grant was 18%. And the players 14%, and then government 13%. The previous ones that we did, we had a similar outcome. The only problem is that the figures have changed. The GFA was 52%, now it is 55%. The Avram Grant was 22%, now it is 18%. And I believe the players and government have got some as well. So let me take your brief thoughts on this.
Let me try and explain this. Okay, with the GFA, it's because they overly bashed in the media.
Okay.
And so there's a feeling that the GFA is corrupt.
Right.
Well, there are no figures to prove that they're corrupt yet. But you understand again that the GFA is in charge of everything that happens with the Black Stars. Apart from the money that is being handled by the sports ministry. Okay. So who appoints the coach? How do players get into the team? How are the players getting themselves ready for competitions and all? The Ghana
GFA.
Football Association is truly there. So it pushes up the president, Kwesi Nyantakyi. A lot of people have been bashing him. So it's very clear that the first point of call for anyone who's trying to do the analysis is we'll go straight to the Ghana Football Association. So I'm not surprised I see this. Okay. But you see, in all of this, I was expecting that the government actually should be picking up. The government should be getting the percentage here because they are directly in charge, because government has done a very good job of tickling with the feelings of Ghanaians, and that's how come you're feeling this. Okay. So when they want to react or vent their spleen, they go straight to the Ghana Football Association. Okay. They have a lot of work to do because they've also failed in the systems. We don't get the players coming to us we expect, and they have not been transparent. That's another thing for the Ghana Football Association. Okay. For Avram Grant and the players is a little one, and it's fair. It's fair for me.
It's fair for you.
I still
Talking about Avram Grant, he's resigned, right?
Yeah, he's resigned.
Good.
He's resigned. Good. And of course, everybody expected him to go. He was gone a long time ago, so no problems. Avram Grant didn't give us what we expected.
You don't sound very excited about this man.
Yeah, because Avram Grant. You see, if I put you on another pie chart, Avram Grant leaving the scene is only maybe a 1/3 of solving our problems. We've got more stuff to do with the Ghana Football Association and government.
From your perspective.
Yes, leave the players alone. Whoever you call will come.
I say a very big thank you to you, George Addo Jr. as well, our Joy Sports team, and he's been helping us to make sense out of this confusion, lies, 5,000, 8,000. We'll get to see the bottom of this, hopefully, if there is indeed an investigation or we make it a foolish case, as George suspects. But you remember I had a conversation with Nyaho Tamaklu, who has been who is a former president of the Ghana Football Association, who most of you are blaming for the Black Stars' defeat. He actually foresaw that the Black Stars wouldn't go far with this tournament. Watch this.
To me, their performance is not good. I'm being frank with you. Their performance to me is not good. They have been able to get to the quarterfinal stage now, which is good for them. But the sort of football they played, look, the other countries are playing very serious football. They have younger boys, you follow me, who don't get tired at all. I've been watching the matches.
Our guys are getting tired?
They get tired. They get tired. And you find it difficult to know the sort of formation they are even playing. All because they have an absentee coach. The coach never, lives with them here.
Sports pundits have said that you don't necessarily have to live as a coach, live with the players to know how they're playing. That he goes out there to watch them play every now and then.
No.
That should suffice.
No. You go to Manchester United, that is a club. You follow me? The coach lives with them. If you are picked as a national coach, I've been in that seat before, so I know what I'm talking about. It is your duty to say where you were employed. But it's not just a question of picking players from various clubs when we have a tournament, but you must be able to know them. You follow me? You can only know them when you are training them yourself.
I see.
So far, he's not been able to produce one local football or promote one local football.
Just the point that the minister designate makes about the coach and of course, he makes his own position on the Black Stars and how he thought they would fare. Well, we've all seen the result. That is Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo there for you.